In this section, we're going to now start graphing linear functions. We've been talking about functions, domain and range, function notation, and now we're going to talk about graphing a linear function. Linear function means a function whose graph is a line. Now, the method that we're going to, well, let me go back and remind you a little bit of review. In a previous course or a previous module, you should have talked about how to graph something like y equals 2x plus 1 by making a t-chart, picking some values for x, generating some values for y, and plotting points. Another way you might have graphed a line, suppose you had 2x plus 3y equals 6. The intercept method. The intercept method still involves points, but very specifically, you let x be 0 and you will find the y-intercept. You let y be 0 and you will find the x-intercept. This method back here, you had like 1 went with 3 and -1 went with -1 and 0 went with 1. So in this way, usually we said try 3 points here, 2, get a third one if you want to. These are old ways, and they're very good ways. Plotting points, plotting specifically the intercepts. Now we're going to look at a method called slope intercept. All right, the slope intercept, oh, I've lost my things, there we go. Let me erase this. The slope intercept method requires you to get the equation of a line, solve for y equals. Y equals, for example, 5x plus 2. When you have an equation in the form y equals, then the numbers over here have specific roles. The number that is the coefficient of x is the slope of the line, which you could go back in your textbook if you need to, go back to I think about section 3.4 in the book to review the concept of slope, but it is how slanted the line is. The constant number is the y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis. This is called slope intercept form, and the formula looks like y equals m times x plus b, where once again that's the slope and that's the y-intercept. So if you're taking notes, you'd want to say that m stands for the slope of the line and b stands for the y-intercept. Now I want to show you how you can use these two pieces of information to graph a line without making a t-chart, without setting x to 0 and y to 0. So let's see if we can do it. Let's look, for example, this line that I have right here. Y equals 5x plus 2. Well, if I think about the format y equals mx plus b, I hope that we can all see that b is 2 and m is 5. So I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to write it down very carefully. I'm going to say b is equal to 2, and that is where the line crosses the y-axis, which is the vertical axis. M is 5. Slope, if you remember, is a ratio. So if there is not a denominator to the m value, put it over 1. This represents the rise over the run. So rise 5, so I'm going to draw an up arrow. run +1, and to the right is a positive direction. This information is enough for me to graph the line. Something else that might be helpful to you is to think of the letter B as starting begin, where to begin. Think of the letter M as the word move, how to move. So I'm going to begin and then move. All right, I may have a little difficulty graphing on this. It will not be as neat as it would be if I had a piece of paper and a nice sharp pencil. All right, B, begin at 2 on the y-axis. A point on the line is right there, 2. Move, up 5, right 1. So I would go from where I began, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 1, and I drop another point there. Now, if I can, I am going to try to draw a line it's not going. There we go. And that really, whoops. There we go. It does extend. Oops. It does extend further, but that's about. Whoops. This is going everywhere. That's the best I can do with the tools that I have. All right. So using slope-intercept. Get the equation, solve for y equals. B tells you where to begin on the y-axis. M, as a fraction, tells you how to move, how to rise and run to get another point on the line. Then you'll draw the line. All right, let's use this method, slope-intercept. All right, the first one says, use slope-intercept form to graph the equation. Y equals 9x minus 3. All right, from that, here's how I will do this each and every time. I will remember that the format is y equals mx plus b. B is where I begin at -3 on the y-axis. A common mistake is for people to start it on the x-axis, and that's incorrect. M is how I will move, and the M value is 9. I need it as a ratio, so I'll put it over 1. That tells me to go up 9 and right 1. So on my graph, let me see if I can do this in red. I will begin at -3 on the y-axis, so put a point there. Then I will move up 9, that'll take me to here, over 1, right there. Now I'm going to try to use a straight edge and draw a line. Not perfect, but about the best I can do with that. Let me say, when you're doing this in Math Lab, you will have the grid. There will be a little hourglass that if you need to make it bigger, or you can click on this thing that says click to enlarge the graph. You're going to choose this tool, which is the line graph tool. It will, as you move your mouse, you will get crosshairs, and you will begin by going to -3 and clicking. Then you will move up and over, in this case, and click again. Those 2 points, and then you will have your line. All right, let's look at number 2. It says to use slope-intercept to graph y equals 7/6 x minus 1. All right, B is begin. I will begin at -1 on the y-axis. I will then move. My slope is 7/6. It is a fraction. The numerator is up. The denominator is right. So let me use that information. In Math Lab, I would click on the line tool. I begin by going to -1 and clicking a point. From there, I would go up 7, will take me to here, go right 6, take me to here, and I click again. The line will automatically be drawn. I am trying to draw, but the thing keeps moving. Oh, very bad line. So let me try again. I had begin at -1, go up 7, go right 6. I'm going to hand draw a line. It's not going to be very good, but with the tools I'm using, that's the best it's going to be. Your line will actually be perfect when you do it in MATLAB. Let's look at number 3. We have y equals -3x. Now I wanted to do this one because there is no plus or minus number. What that means is that there is an implied plus 0. So you will begin at 0 on the y-axis, and your slope, you will move -3 and put it over 1. When the slope is a negative number, the negative belongs either to the top or to the bottom, but not both. So this could be 3 over -1, and I'll show you how both of those could work. All right, so I click on that. I begin at 0. If I choose this, then I have down 3, right 1. Okay, from this point, down 3, right 1. Or this says go up 3, but negative in a horizontal direction is left 1. So from there, if instead I went up 3 and left 1, can you see that my 3 points fall on the same line? So it didn't matter. I usually use this one. All right. This example, I have -5x plus y is equal to 4. Now my instructions tell me to use slope-intercept. This is not in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form must be y equals. You have to get a positive y by itself. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides. And I keep the y is equal to, keep the positive 5x and the plus 4. Now I have slope-intercept form. Whoops. Sorry, lost it. All right, so I have b is 4 on the y-axis, and the slope is 5. Put it over 1. They're both positive, so it's up and it's right for the rise over run. So if I graph this, line tool, 4 on the y-axis. From there, go up 5, go right 1, and there's another point. My lines are not straight, and I apologize for that, but it's very difficult for me to use a straight edge on this particular tablet that I'm using to record. All right, let's go to the last one. I'm supposed to use slope-intercept to graph 3x plus 4y is 12. And I can't do that yet because it does not say y equals. To get y isolated, I'll subtract 3x. So I have 4y is equal to -3x plus 12. I like to put the x term in front and the constant term at the end. Divide everything by 4. And I get y is equal to -3/4 x plus 3. Now it's in slope-intercept form. Begin at 3 on the y-axis, and then move -3 over 4 or 3 over -4. A negative fraction is negative either on the top or the bottom. If you go the first one, it's down 3, right 4, or it's up 3, left 4. So let's graph this line. I begin at 3 on the y-axis. So it's right there. If I use these instructions to move, I move down 3, right 4. It would put me with a point right there. Now that's enough. I can draw the line. But if instead I use these instructions, I go up 3 and I go left 4, you can see it wouldn't matter that my points line up, and I get a very wiggly line, I'm sorry, that my points line up in a line whether I use these instructions or these instructions. Okay, so you can graph a line using just points. You can draw a line if you have the intercepts or slope-intercept. So this lesson is about using slope-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Give this a try.